Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Uncivilized podcast. This is episode number one. The topic is the cultural gap between the older and younger generation. Today, we have our lovely guest, Danar, with us. Danar is a sociologist. He graduated, I think, last year.
Yes.
You,
Last year I graduated
what placement were you? Bottom?
very bottom. Down deep in the bottom.
Okay, so I will also every now and then I will go back to the questions we have from our
Of course,
audience,
yes.
so we can stay on track. But it is very evident that we have a very big cultural gap
Yes.
between the younger and older generation.
Yes.
This creates a lot of problems for us. Maybe it is not something that is necessarily exclusive to our location. I feel like this happens almost everywhere. But what makes us so different from these other places? Do you think we are more affected when it comes to this?
Yes, of course you are more affected. When you come to this, you have a lot of problems that comes from this. This become a reason to a lot of different problems between youths, between even married couples. We don't know how to make effect on the old generation because they know something and they don't want to change that thing. They don't give a shit to your opinion.
It is very much the case of I am right and you are wrong, and it is literally based on nothing, you know?
Yes, it's based on nothing. It's just the way they experience the life, the way they
Yeah.
know each other, the way they grow up. It's
Oh,
different from our way.
and there's always this thing, I don't know if it's just me, but my mom, she really likes to investigate the shit out of my friends, man. It's like, who are you hanging out with? Where are they from? Why are they there? Jesus Christ, I don't know how to deal with it because I do have a lot of friends, and when we hang out, we really don't have exclusive hangouts for guys or girls. We all hang out together.
It's okay for
Yeah.
us. It's okay, but for them, no. They must need where they live.
Yeah.
Where is their favorite places? Where they go? What is their kinship even?
Have the ultimate saying. Në zot da Eva që mollën he më t'hilin ki qëtë hu sa that, Kevin. You know? It is very much like that because one time I had this argument of so I went out with my friends at 3 a.m. in the morning. Look, I fully told my fucking parents because I'm 24, almost 24 right now. If I don't tell my parents where I am right now, they'll beat my fucking ass and I can't do shit about it. And I told them hey, I'm gonna go for a hike. We went and climbed the flag mountain in Duhok, and they were like, sure, if you're with your friends, and they know my friends. That's the thing. We went to some of our relatives' house, and my mom was just talking. She was like, oh yeah, Baha went and climbed the mountain at 3 a.m. And then everybody went, you know? And then I was like, what the fuck? And then they're like, okay, who did you go with? I was like, I went with my friends. And they were like, who were they? I was like, well, there are some girls and some boys. They were like, girls? You know? I was like, mind your fucking business, you know? I don't know how the older generation thinks, but I swear to fucking God, they think that if you hang out with a girl 2 seconds,
You must.
she's pregnant. You're getting
course.
married.
You're getting married
You're
right
ge-
now.
Right now.
Right
Khalas, no question about it.
question.
We're getting 10 nevis.
Yes.
We don't give a shit, you know? So this creates a lot more serious problems than we think, you know? I think a lot of our traditions overlap with the law and overlap with the judicial system. So when these things end up in killings, or let's be more specific, honor killings,
Yes. Yes, of course. It's need to be discussed with government, with our community. It must be an open discussion between government and community to know each other better. Look, everything as a community, when you made honor killing, you kill your daughter, you kill your relatives because of something that you think is shameful to you, that means we don't know the right time for discussing. You don't know the right time for making a problem smaller than than it become. Every problem like this, it always become big, even if it is uncovered, or
Yeah.
even if it is uncovered, it's
Yeah.
publicly, it becomes big. Why? Because our community, our traditions are very strict.
They are.
We don't know how to get out of that traditions.
There is a point of not understanding between the two generations, okay?
Of course.
But this is, I would say, this is a very human thing. When people say, "Oh, I understand what you're going through," no, you don't. That's the thing. But what I can say is that I need you to understand that I don't understand you, but I will respect what you have gone through, you know?
Yes.
There needs to be a ground of understanding, you know?
Yes.
Of like why do we share these feelings about each other? I know a lot of young people think of, like, let's say the older generation as, oh, they're grumpy, they don't let us do what we want to, they are very strict, you know, there's like so many points.
Yes.
And the older generation have the points maybe about us that we are naive, that we don't know what we're doing with our life, we are not as smart as they were, we are not as savvy. So there are these arguments between us, you know, like yeah, we might, like, I'm not gonna deny the fact that I might be dumb, okay? Like, I might, as belki bir kerbam, I'm not sure, you know? Like, because I have done my fair share of fucking mistakes.
It's okay. It's experience of our life. It's
Exactly.
the way that give us an open mind.
I think experience is the main point of people learning, you know?
Yes.
Like, I'll be honest with you, I think that the younger generation is a lot dumber than we are. But they're not, you know?
No, it's not about dump, of course, but something must be changed in our style of life.
Yeah.
We youths, we have our problems, but the older generation want to control our life, want to control our desire, want
Yeah.
to control everything in our life, want to track us even sometimes.
And can I ask, to what point is freedom beneficial? Do you think that if you give people like an amount of freedom, it might harm them more than it will benefit them?
Let me tell you something. Freedom is not about go whatever you do. Whatever you do is okay. Whatever you want is okay. No, it's not just like this. It is decisions in their life. If I made a decision and you are not with me, you must respect my decision, but not changing my decision because of the way you live based on your life. You change my decision. That's big problem between our generations and them.
Yeah. No, okay, I had to make this point clear because, like, I feel like freedom is such a broad subject.
Yes.
But what you're saying is right, is like a freedom to decide what you want to decide. I know a lot of people think of like freedom as like a very Western thing
Yes.
because there are a lot of people that take freedom as let's say the more negative side of it, you know. They like to like, oh, we have freedom, and then they start showing more skin, which is fine. This is okay.
It's okay.
If this is who you are,
It's okay.
you have full, like, I don't care what you wear, I really don't. But like, if you're doing this just to appeal to like a certain culture or a certain thing, then
Of course, you make yourself so many problems to yourself.
There is this discussion. I don't really want to go to this discussion, but we'll discuss it very quick. The fact, like, to what point is my problem your problem, you know? To what point should you mind your fucking business, you know? Because I have said that to people a lot, you know?
You know, it's my problem. It's not your problems. But in community, we learned, we grow up on something that if you have a problem, I must solve your problems. I must help you. If you have something different in your lifestyle, I must tell you to change that to be like a community. But you don't know what I am being through, how I can decide something like this. Maybe if I go just like you said.
This was something that we really discussed as a team, even for the podcast. We need to make a ground for healthy discussions and
Yes.
acceptance, you know? So acceptance and understanding are for me two completely opposite things.
Yes.
I can accept what you do or what you decide. I don't have to understand it, you know?
Yes.
Some things are not for us to understand, and that is totally fine. You don't have to understand
Okay,
everything.
it's okay.
Because if I do not accept your decision or do accept your decisions, this will not affect that decision, you know? You will still make that decision. So that means my opinion is what? Irrelevant. So in that point, mind your fucking business. You know? So we have, okay, this is I really like this question. So
Yeah.
this question says, talk about those traumas that the older generation gives us without even knowing. Yes. Okay. Like, mom and dad, this is your intervention. We're gonna be talking about you. This is a huge problem. Okay.
Yes. Like we said before, they want you to live the way they lived.
Yeah.
They don't want you to be different from them. They want you to be doctor and engineer. That's the most important thing. If you don't become a doctor or engineer,
and if you don't
you
write
are
on your
shit.
and don't write on your Instagram bio,
Yes,
doctor,
doctor.
with emojis of pills and
Yes.
Sri Lankas, you know, like, or the engineers, of course, they put the house emoji and they write ENG dot, and they're still in first year. Like, bitch, calm down, calm the fuck down. And also, everybody to the side, you pharmacists need to fucking stop. Y'all not even doctors. You put pills to the side, okay?
So really, this is a big problem.
Yeah.
Like I will talk about myself. My family was expecting me to be a doctor, but instead I became a sociologist, which is even I didn't imagine to be accepted in that department. I love my fields of study. I love my department. I love the way I lived with that department.
Yeah. I realized that what will help me is business.
It's your desire. It's just simple like this.
It's very much that, like, and they thought they knew better for me, okay? I really liked what I was studying. Because I was mostly studying what you guys were studying, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
you
we
told
took
me.
a lot of the same
Yes.
subjects. Because my major was marketing. And in marketing, the first thing that got me hooked on this department is that we went to the class. Our teacher was like, so, you know, you have a heart and a brain? And we were like, yeah. And he was saying it in a British accent. He was like, you know, you have a heart and a brain. We were like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Well, fuck your heart. We're going to work with your brain. I was like, I fucking love this department. And then I became the top one student on my department for 4 years in a row. Then when they saw my grades, they were like, well, maybe this was a good decision. I was like, yeah, maybe the fuck it was, you know. And there's a lot more traumas. I don't feel like it's just this. Like,
Yes, of course, but this is just simple.
one of the ones, you
One
know.
of the millions, billions of
Yeah.
traumas.
I understand, you know, like, it is sometimes unwillingly that you pass on trauma, I would say. My parents are not the most affectionate parents. They don't show a lot of their affection. Like, the most loving word you can get out of my mom is haywan. You know, like, yeah. And I'm okay with that, you know?
It's totally okay.
Yeah, I'm used to it. And now I'm not very affectionate with other kids as well. Like, I have 10 nieces and nephews.
Oh.
I never told any of them that I love them. Same shit. The only good thing they can come out of my mouth for them is haywan. You know? And I love it.
Those things are really okay with us.
Yeah.
And we accept it. But they don't accept what we want. We accept what they want, but they don't
What
accept
they have
we
forced upon us.
Yes. Even we are talking about them, but we still respect everyone.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is not, everybody is a product of their time.
Yes.
You know, that's the thing. I went to therapy for a good while, and My therapist told me one thing that changed my whole perspective about this.
Oh.
And I was talking to her about like how my mom lived, you know, and she looked at me dead in the eye and she was like, "Have you ever thought about how traumatized your mom is?" I really never thought about that, you know?
Yes.
My
Deep.
mom went through a lot of shit.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that this has affected her. And now it's not that she doesn't want to, she doesn't know how to,
Yes.
you know? All of our parents have went through and lived through something that is
Yes, of
it is
course.
traumatic for any human being.
Of course.
This brings us to one of the questions that we have is that
Mm-hmm.
somebody said the fact that a lot of young people do not want to have kids or do not want to get married, but because of their family pressure, they get married and then this ends up in more failed marriages. I know there's a lot of people that don't want to get married, and how do we make them understand like this is an okay thing?
Sometimes our family must accept that if I don't want to marry a girl, if you don't want to marry a girl, it's okay. If I even married a girl, if I don't want a kid, maybe
Yeah.
if I become a dad, I I will be a bad dad.
Yeah, I will not give that kid what it deserves, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
you
don't
know,
know.
those things must be changed. Of course, this topic, but the way it can be changed is very difficult for us now.
Yeah.
We have a technology, but I think instead of technology, we must firstly have the right opinions, the right what I say, the right ثقافة
Mm-hmm.
in our life, but not just in our generation. No, in older generations too.
Oh well.
We have problems in our generation,
True.
but it's something very difficult for us to
I
change.
think we have problems of our own generation, of course. And yes, the older generation has a problem. And yes, we do have to have this culture around us.
Mhm.
This is something I think we both studied as organizational culture.
Yes.
We people need to realize like I know people are afraid of change a lot of the time. And people
Yes.
are also when they want to change, they want change quick.
Yes.
That
That's a problem.
doesn't happen. That doesn't
No.
happen, you know?
If you're gonna change this, you
Mm-hmm.
might be patient with this because
Yeah.
I told you this community change takes 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the thing. Like one of the rules, the main rule of the organizational culture subject is that to change a culture, it takes half of the time, at least
Mm-hmm.
half of the time that it was created in. So if our culture was created in 20 years, we have to at least work on it for 10 years to be able
Yes.
to change it. There are other steps, but this is one of the main steps. So this is something that people need to realize is that change doesn't happen quickly, man. We might not even see this change. Maybe our kids might see this change. Our like nieces and nephews might see this change.
Yes.
But I really like going back on a positive. Things have changed, you know?
It
We
have
cannot
changed,
say that they
but
haven't.
yes.
There are good steps that are being taken. I'm happy to say, and I will like put this information out there just so that the people know, even in the workplace, the government is now putting some laws
Mhm.
that are created by women
Yes.
in the workplace for harassment in the workplace.
Mm.
So laws that are created by women for women. This is a very good thing.
Yes, of course.
And I believe maybe sometimes we focus too much on the negative as a community.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also, I believe, it is truly for me it's a trauma because we have been through so much that we just immediately expect the worst. If we just have we need to start focusing on the positive. We need to start educating ourselves about what is changing and then
Yes,
help this change happen more,
of course.
you know?
We have seen positive sides, positive positive words from the family of victims. Someone in the family of the victim maybe defended their daughter
Yeah.
or their relatives. Positive ways by government, they take different law from the past right now. They
Yeah.
make a different law, like just you said, but for our community it's just starting, and we should be patient with our old generation, and youth generation must get
Cultured.
cultured.
Yeah.
Yes, awareness. They must have more awareness about this topic.
Awareness, yeah.
So I don't know why our youth generation make their problems bigger than it is.
Yeah.
And our old generation doesn't understand us and we doesn't understand them.
Yeah.
So everything is
Colliding with each other.
yes.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest things that is affecting this thing, like this problem as a whole, is misinformation, I'll call it, you know, like misinformation. Misinformation about what the youth is doing, misinformation what the old generation is doing, and also misinformation on who's doing what, you know.
Yes.
So I know there is a lot of, let's say, younger generation people that are bad influence even on other younger people, and
Yes.
I fully stand by this opinion. But at the same time, there are some young people that are genuinely trying their best, you know? And how in Kurdish we have this saying that we say "Taru hashik bek vat sojan."
Yes,
That
that's
mean-
the problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the wet and the dry burn together. It doesn't matter. So this is what happened here.
For us, if we want to develop our community, to make our community a safe environment to live in, until now I don't feel safe in my environment, in my community. Why? Because I know there is a gap between me, between the way I think, the way I want to live the life, and the community. Even in my family, I love my family. Of course, everyone loves you. You love
Yeah.
your family. You love your family.
No, I don't actually. I hate my family.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, if I fucking hate them, I'll kill them tonight if I want to. You know, like I have all the fucking cases ready. The police works for me. I will say this. I really genuinely love a lot of things about our culture as well. Like one thing that I really like is the family values that our culture has.
Yes.
It is very important for a family to stay together. This is good to an extent. I don't think it should go to the point where I have to be in all of your business. No, because you're my family. I have to know everything, you know? This is not healthy, but to a point, this value is extremely, extremely nice to me, you know? Like, I feel like this is something we should keep.
We should keep, of course, but we shouldn't make it a way to control your kids.
That's true.
They should support us. We should support them, but they shouldn't control our decisions, our lifestyle.
That's true. So what should we do when it comes to these problems? What should we do as individuals?
Look, if you want to make this change earlier, it's just like your project. It's a simple project, but
Yeah.
it needs us to talk about it to public community, to publicly. It's helpful to community.
You know, you
Your
can even talk to your
project-
friends about it. That's
Yes,
the
of
thing.
course,
You can
of
talk
course.
to anyone about it.
Of
Just
course.
start talking about it. It's generally is like what we are trying to say is fucking educate yourself. We are so uneducated about some topics, and that is so okay. But it's not an excuse anymore. We have all the resources in the world available to us. The fact that we are not educated about some topics that are affecting our lives is not an excuse anymore, because you have literally the whole world in your hands with the internet. Really, education can make a world of fucking difference in Kurdistan.
Of course.
So this is not just, we're not talking about formal education, by the way. We are not doing that because formal
No.
education is not really good that much.
No.
Me and Danar are talking right now we are educating each other with our knowledge. This is exactly why I made this podcast. I have some knowledge that you don't, and you have some knowledge that I don't.
Yes.
But by sharing it, we have automatically increased the amount of knowledge in our, let's say, culture. Really am happy to say that I have created a culture with my friends, which is a shit-talking culture. We sit down and talk shit about everybody, but it's a fucking culture. It's a fucking culture. You can't argue with me on this, you know? And I do have a nickname. People call me Mr. Gaybology. I love it. I fucking love it, you know? Yeah.
Really, when the first time I saw your story about the project, I was very happy about it.
Thank you. Yes, he was one of my first followers.
personality in the project. I really love it.
Don't say my personality in the project. That's how it makes me sound like I'm fake as shit. You know?
I don't mean like that. Okay. I don't mean like that.
Yeah.
But I really, when the first time I saw your story about the project, I was very happy about it.
Thank you. Yes, he was one of my first followers.
I want to say something in the end to youth generation.
Yeah.
Stop give hate to each other. Stop watching other ones. Oh, look, he doing his projects. She doing what she want, and I don't.
Don't compare yourself to others. That's like what we're trying. Everybody
Work on yourself.
Yeah, I get it. What you're saying is completely understandable. I do that sometimes. The world has become so fast that we all are expected to be successful at the age of 21.
Oh,
This does not happen for everybody.
no.
Take your time and, let yourself have the journey that you should have.
Yes.
Don't look to other people's journeys and kind of make them a blueprint to yours. This has been the first episode. Thank you so much for coming to our show. We really appreciate you giving us your time. And of course, please look at our link in our description on YouTube, in our bio on Instagram. You can find all of our platforms. You can follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube, listen to us on Google Podcast, Anchor FM, and also for our international audience, you can listen to our podcast on Spotify. This has been the cultural gap between the younger and older generation, or in other words, you need to mind your fucking business.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening.